Hey everybody, it's Friday morning and this is my 125-gallon Natve Tank. I came down a little while ago to turn the lights on and I noticed I had one dead creek chub stuck to my power head over there on the left, and that was maybe an hour ago, and now I've come in and there's two dead ones stuck. Now the one is the one I saw this morning. I was actually coming in to clean it out of the tank and shoot a little bit of video when I saw that there's another one on there now. So that one apparently has passed away very recently, or else was already dead, wedged somewhere, and has recently gotten knocked loose and was able to float around the tank until it got caught on the power head. The one clearly looks like it's been dead overnight. The other one does look fairly fresh, so no need to go look at the gory details. At any rate, we need to get some more minnows in here. We're getting down to only the large ones that are actually starting to take damage from being struck at, but they're too big to be eaten. Namely, the one that I'm most concerned about is this very large one right here, because that is my eastern stone roller, and I really want him to survive. Look at the wood in the tank now. Look how clean and beautiful it's starting to look, and that's all because this eastern stone roller is an off-flux grazer. I did have two of them in here. One of them was considerably smaller. I'm honestly not sure if it's still in there. I haven't really been inspecting the tank this morning. The smallmouth bass is getting a lot more outgoing, as I was hoping it would. It doesn't seem nearly as afraid of me. I still don't think it associates me with food, because it's not eating the types of food I directly put in the tank. I'll grant you I am responsible for putting the minnows in the tank, but I don't think the fish understands that in the same sort of direct correlation way as the others do. When I open the lid, the flake food comes in. You know, so the bass doesn't recognize me as the source of food yet. In time it might, and in time I'm hoping I can get it discouraged from eating its smaller tank mates, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I also want to point out quickly that these little green sunfish that I have in here are really starting to color up and are growing fast. I've already got them eating flakes. It takes about an hour to train a sunfish to eat flakes. They'll eat any damn thing. Sunfish are not picky. Lastly, for this opening sequence, I would like to come over here and point out, I just noticed this now myself. If you will see that crayfish claw right there, that is very readily identifiable as the half claw from the crayfish I had that only had a half claw remaining. You can even see the hole poked in the side of the claw with the brown coloration around it. That was part of that crayfish. So apparently it was still alive and was still in the tank up until very recently. Its remaining half claw being torn off, I don't know if it's actually still alive or if it just got its claw torn off or what, but that was absolutely the claw from that half-clawed crayfish. So make what you want of that. I guess time will tell. So what we're going to do today, what this video is really going to be about, now that we've gone through a lengthy and rambling intro, I need to go collect some more small fish for this tank. And I don't want to just go straight down the street to my little stream here today. I want to go to one of my favorite places, George's Creek. There's a little area where the water is kind of shallow. It's right at the downstream end of a little bit of fast-moving water, and there's always lots and lots of large schools of small fish swimming around. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but we can find out when we get there. We can scoop some up. We can look to see if they're gambusia, maybe they're schools of baby sunfish. They could be schools of small bass for all I know. I'm not really sure what they are just yet, but we can go have a look at them. I also want to point out that there's just no way I'm going to the creek and I'm not taking my fishing rod with me. So depending on what happens and how I do, this may turn out to be as much of a sort of outdoors fishing video as I make my way downstream to the area that I'm going. It's about, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile downstream from where I park. So I've got lots of little holes to fish in along the way, and I'm going to do that. And of course, if I catch anything, I'll incorporate that into this video. So sit back and enjoy. I have no idea how long this video is going to wind up being. Of course, you obviously do at this point if you're watching, because the video is completed. But as of now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit it, and we'll see what happens from here. So I'll see you out at George's Creek. Alright, normally I would park right here. I'm not so lazy as I can't walk down to the stream. But today we're going to be walking out of the woods with a bucket of water and I have a feeling it's not unlikely that we might be hoofing it back to the truck if the skies open up on us while we're down here today. So today I am going to drive right down here to the water's edge, and we're going to park, make it a little easier for me on the way out of here. So I'm going to turn around and get facing back uphill. I'll see you in a minute. Always count on this little hole. Nothing remarkable, but a lot of fun. And off he goes right back into the same spot. So I'm going to fish into this hole and a little bit up that way, and then we will turn around after that and start heading back downstream. Pour it right out of his mouth. It's alright, at least we know they're in here. It's a nice little smallie. Boy, he just about swallowed that too. That is definitely the problem with using this little bait. You get these larger fish. And this one's not even approaching a large smallmouth. And you can already see how easily he could just swallow that little bait down there. Alright, we're just at the bridge, as you can tell, so we've still got quite a ways to go. Alright everybody, we're making our way down. There was nothing else going on up near the bridge. You can see the bridge in the distance there. We're going to try this little hole. I got a couple of spots along here, and then right down around the bend is where we're actually heading. So we're getting there. Let's just see if we can pull any more fish out of these little holes along the way. I was going to switch over to my crick hopper, which is reliable and I know catches me fish back here, but I decided that since my primary goal is to actually collect specimens for the aquarium, I figured today would be a good day to experiment with using a topwater lure. We are getting kind of late in the summer. Now would be a good time to start using it. I don't even see any activity. Unfortunately, to get down here, we had to come right past it. So me walking by, I could have spooked any fish that were in there. And normally, I'm fishing this on the way back out. So I'm coming upstream to it. And you kind of sneak up on it. today I will be leaving with a bucket of water, and instead of walking up the stream like we are now, I'll be walking up the trail right over there and going straight back to the truck. So we'll give it one more shot here, and we'll move on to the next little spot. Alright everybody, today has not been a very productive day for the hula popper, but that's alright because, as I said, this is where we're really coming. Don't know, again, I can never tell with the camera whether you're getting glare on the water or not. I have polarized glasses on and I can see right through it, and there's just dozens and dozens of little tiny fish. You could just see one flash right out there a moment ago, again assuming you can see through the water, but trust me, there's lots and lots of little fish through here. This whole area is fairly shallow. There's a possibility we could find one of those bottom dwelling sculpin looking fish. I don't know, once we catch one we'll be able to identify it a little more readily maybe. I don't know. So we will get to it with the bucket and the net here shortly, but that is my honey hole right there, and we are not leaving before I throw out. It's a whole bunch of little fish right there. We're not leaving before I throw my hula popper along those bushes right there a few dozen times. Alright everybody, last cast. And we gotta be getting down to some business because I can hear thunder rumbling off in the distance, and I know we've got storms coming our way. I looked at the radar before I came out here, but it's just too good to come out here. If I got waders on, there's no way I'm not coming down here, at least giving it a shot. I've pulled some really nice bass out of here before. Alas, today is not the day. So we are going to make our way back up where I was just talking about. And we're going to catch some little fishies. In fact, we might be able to net us up some here. Well, didn't get any there, but there's a ton of little fish swimming around. There's a bunch over there. I got a little tiny one. It's definitely one of those little minnows that we caught the other day, so it's just one. I'm going to throw it back in. We'll be able to catch plenty of them again. Alright, I'm going to head back over to where the bucket is, and I will see you over there in a minute. Alright, well, it looks like we don't need to go over to the bucket. We can just catch the fish along the way because I've already got quite a net full. Alright. Just carefully sit my rod down. Rinse my bucket out. So these same little shiny minnows we caught the other day, which footage I didn't use. It's the same shiny little minnows though. Almost looks like that could be a baby bass. Alright, we've already got a couple dead ones, or stunned ones. That's a little dead fish on the bottom, and I swear it almost looks like a little dead trout. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's right there, that little light colored thing. It almost looks like a dead trout. Interesting. Alright, there's a big school of those little fish right there. There's a really big school of them right there, so let's extend this a little bit. If I can figure out how to extend it. And there's several more. Kind of hoping to catch something a little different. So here's another big school of what looks like the same tiny little minnows. Boy, I didn't even catch one that time. There's another bunch of them. And there's a bunch. Well, these are all definitely good feeder fish size for just about anything. I'm not going to have to feed that warmouth for days. Alright, we're amassing quite a collection. I think we can probably just about go. Again, I was hoping for something more interesting, but my real goal was just to get enough small fish in the tank today that there'd be food in it. We'll come out here another day and we will try to catch some other fish. But while I'm looking at it, again, I don't know if, let me take my glasses off and see what it looks like. I guess you can see through the water clear enough. If you look at this area right here, you can see how it's all clean, and then there's a little hole underneath that rock. That is either where a crayfish lives or some type of fish that burrows. We have a lot of little burrowing bottom dwellers around here. See, there's another little house. There's another one over there where you can see all this cleared away area. I can actually see the crayfish sticking his little face out of that hole right there. So if you stop and you look around, you actually start noticing these little spots all over the place, and that gives you a pretty good idea of how far away from each other these crayfish like to live. So for the people that have said if I just put more rocks and more caves in my tank I could have more crayfish in there, I really couldn't, because they still want to be this far apart of each one of these little burrows that they've got here. So they're not gonna, you know, live in an apartment complex where they're stacked right on top of each other regardless. So the tank's set up enough that I can maintain it, we can see through it, it still offers enough in the way of hiding places. There's a little fish that's different. Let's see what that is. It's elusive because I didn't catch it. Alright, let's walk on out here into the slightly deeper water and see if there's anything different swimming around, and then we'll get out of here because I can hear the thunder rolling in the distance again. So you can clearly see, well, I hope you can clearly see all these little burrows that are about 2.5 to 3 feet apart. So that's about how they like to be out in the wild. And I'm not even seeing any more. There goes a couple little small fish, but they're just darting downstream. Let's see if we can walk up on any, head them off at the pass, so to speak. Does not look like it. Alright, well, I accomplished. I've come out here, I've caught a few small bass, I've caught some feeder fish for the tank, brought everybody along with me. Hopefully we had a good time. So it's time to pack it up. Gotta hit the trail right here, head on up to where the truck is, and I'll see you all back at the tank. Alright everybody, I thought I'd bring you with me this last little stretch so we can do some pretend off-roading. If I drive well enough, I should be able to get out of here without the traction control even kicking in, let alone the four-wheel drive. So let's see. This top part will be where it's trickiest. Two-wheel drive. Alright everybody, see you at home. And we're back. So I've already got them prepared. We've got a few dead and dying ones in there, but they're going to go in anyway. They should probably get gobbled right up. And there's the bass right there. So let's see if we don't get some feeding action immediately. Zoom. Alright, well that's all the little fish. Let's get over here to where the bass is. In the back's already got a couple. You can see it spitting scales out, so you know at least got one. There's one of those tiny little sunfish that's already eating a small minnow. I'm telling you, those sunfish are incredible with their appetites. Look at that little fish in the back swimming around with that minnow sticking out of its mouth. Really surprised the bass just looked at those minnows and swam on by. That was interesting. Maybe it's already got its fill. Well, one thing's for sure, these little green sunfish are going to grow like little weeds in there. They're going to grow fast. I don't know if we're going to see any more predation from the bass or if it's already got its fill. Seems more like it's trying to get away from me than it does anything else. So I'm actually looking forward to watching these little green sunfish grow up. As I've said all along, with this tank now switching back over to being an aggressive tank, none of this is necessarily permanent. I don't really know what's going to happen in the long run with this tank. The only fish I know I would like to have in here long run would be the stone roller and crayfish. Look, you can even see a little crayfish down here chasing one of these minnows until the minnow turned around and now it's running from the minnow and right back down into its little burrow. So here's my warmouth, which gives you a pretty good idea of just how thick and beefy that's getting. I know it's not really in the light right now, but it still gives you a pretty good idea of how big it is. If I get close enough, it'll move away a little bit and we can see it a little better. Not sure what that mark on its head is, but it looks like it's been banged or dinged or something. So there you go, everybody. Like I said, not necessarily anything permanent. As time goes on, this tank is going to change. We're still in the middle of summer, so we can actually watch some of these fish grow up quite large, and if they start becoming problematic, you know, too problematic, like the green sunfish, who we are already seeing devour some of these little tiny minnows, then you know, I can always get rid of them. I do have a place I can take them. I've got a pond I can put them in and they'll be fine. Smallmouth bass is the same way. That can always be rehomed later. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't really know what this tank is going to wind up being in the long run, but for now it's going to be a fairly predatory, aggressive tank. It's got a lot of native fish in there that are predatory and aggressive, so that's just the way it's going to be. So hope you enjoyed your trip out with me today. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything else I've got going on, whether it's indoors or outdoors. Look, you can even see over here these chubs are striking these little tiny minnows. So these minnows are apparently food for just about everything. There we go. We just saw a chub eat one and spit it back out. That's interesting. Wonder why it spit it back out. But that gives you an idea of just how vulnerable those little minnows are. I mean, these little creek chubs, which also are minnows, are able to just put them down that quickly. I'm not really sure why it spit it out. So you can imagine what that smallmouth bass can do if those little tiny creek chubs can swallow these little fish. So again, this tank's going to be very much more interesting here in the near future. And as I was saying, make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss it. Don't forget, this is my Natve Tank. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for joining me outdoors today, and I will see you real soon on the next one.